So we break down baseball games, Twins games, like they are football games on this show with a 60-game sprint season. And last night, the Twins snapped their 6-game losing streak. Byron Buxton comes back and performs at a high level. Mike Pineda shook off the rust after a bad first inning and goes 6 solid and shuts that White Sox lineup down for only 2 runs. So, Judd, we'll start wherever you want to, breaking a baseball game down like it's football. With this in mind, I have a hot, scintillating Twins take at some point if you want to start with it.
I have no clue what this take is, and I'm really pretty intrigued. So I'd almost like to start with your hot take and jump off the diving board from your hot take.
So everything we've talked about this week, and it's been sort of a roller coaster week on this show because the Twins have been a roller coaster, and I was trying to talk you and Declan off the ledge a couple days ago, saying, listen, this offense, this is the worst this offense is going to be for a million different reasons. It's just like the laws of baseball require that this offense gets better. Like, it's going to get better. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great last night, but they scored enough to win. And then we saw just a ridiculous, just some of the most like blatantly stupid defensive plays of the season, if not like in my life watching baseball. Max Kepler hot dogging in a crucial situation, a tie game, dropping a pop-up in Luis Arias. So we've been down on the Twins here this week for the most part. But I want to tell you that if Byron Buxton and Miguel Sano, I'm sorry, let me start that over. If Byron Buxton and Josh Donaldson are both healthy, and Donaldson's coming back tonight, and they both play throughout the month of September, the Twins will win the World Series.
Oh,
the Twins will still win the World Series.
That is a scintillating and scintillating, if I want to pronounce it that way, hot take. Okay, I don't think they'll win the World Series.
Hot Take Cops is recorded on location with the men and women of sports talk. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in Hot Take Court.
Sorry, I've got my license and registration ready for this one. It's okay.
Why'd you have to go that far? Like, I think you're in a zone of which I sort of like the direction, but win the World Series? So with this pitching, and there's still, I mean, Pineda was really good last night, but that's one start, and like there were some things that were encouraging last night, and there's some guys that are coming back who are encouraging. I think you've got a really nice car that probably can go 115, and you just put it up to 135, and it's too fast.
It's a little shaky. Yeah,
it's too fast. You're going too fast.
But you got to remember, before this week, my stance the whole season has been this team can and might win the World Series. And I've even predicted and write that down that the Twins are going to win the World Series.
Yeah.
And the turbulence that they've faced has been largely based to guys underperforming, but mostly injuries. Mm-hmm. And this team, as we saw last night, is so different when Byron Buxton is on the field.
I agree with that.
He has the key defensive play, robbing a home run, and to his credit, not knocking himself out cold or landing on the injured list.
To which he pointed out.
Yep. I think he jumped off 2 feet.
No, he admitted he went off of one, but he did not. But he did not go into the fence recklessly.
He jumped up fairly straight. He robbed the home run. He brought it down. He landed the plane. It was great. So he saves the inning in that case.
Yeah.
And then he has the base hit to left field that puts the Twins in front. And even the numbers would show, like if you look, I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at the Twins' record with and without Byron Buxton, he is a huge difference maker. Mm-hmm. He makes your pitching better. It's no coincidence that the pitching looks worse when he's not out there in center field. Mike Pineda would have allowed more runs if he doesn't rob that home run last night. And yet Mike Pineda gets the credit, which he should, for going 6 and giving up 2.
Yeah.
And so when you just look at the Twins with or without Byron Buxton, it's a huge difference. And then we haven't even seen the Twins with Josh Donaldson, really, because like the week and a half he was here, he was off to a cold start.
Yeah, he's played 7 games.
Yep. And so what I'm saying is you take the Twins that we have seen so far this year, add Byron Buxton and add Josh Donaldson.
Yep.
That is a World Series team. They have to stay healthy.
Yeah, they have to stay healthy, and they have to probably get some guys who are scuffling or struggling back on track, but that could happen. Let's start with Buxton, okay? Because we've done this show together in different incarnations for a long time now. And I think you would say, for the most part, I'm not really an apologist for players. Like I like some players, but I don't think that I take a player who's disappointed for an extended period for a variety of reasons and like apologize for them or try and pump their tires. Mm-hmm. I have become, I think, and I'm fine with this, a Buxton apologist in the sense that I am just so, and we saw it again last night, I am so convinced that when he is going, not even great, but just well, he's playing well, he's playing good. Mm-hmm. Looks good at the plate. He does not have to be fantastic. His defense is consistently just damn good, if not great. I've become a huge apologist because he does make such a difference. Like, you can go on, and there are people in this town who will, and that's fine, about what Miguel Sano can mean. And look, he can mash, and it's fun to watch when he's hot, right? And he hits a ton of home runs when he is hot. And it's fun to watch the baseball fly a long way, and it's sexy. But I'll go back to what I told you a couple weeks ago, Phil. I feel like with Miguel Sano, we know what he can give you. I feel like with Buxton, there's so many wild cards there because he can do so many things that in different ways from what we're used to in baseball probably change the game completely. Mm-hmm. He is, I'll go back to this. He is essentially, take your pick. He's a basketball player playing baseball. And he is doing things like last night.
He's Randy Moss.
Yeah, and he absolutely, the hit last night was absolutely huge and key. But back to what you were talking about with Pineda. He saved Michael Pineda. And all due respect to Jake Cave, who tries hard, or if Kepler had played center field last night, nobody else makes that catch. Mm-hmm. Nobody. Like, if Miguel Sano went to the Mets tomorrow, I can probably find you another guy.
Careful. He's careful using the word replaceable with Miguel Sano. The Twins take police are going to be on your ass.
I know, but the point being is I can probably find you a guy. He might not hit the ball as far as Miguel can, but he can hit home runs, right?
Yeah, you can find a guy to hit 240 and hit some home runs.
If Byron Buxton, and unfortunately this has been the case too much throughout his time with the Twins, if he disappears tomorrow, I can't replace what he did last night.
It is actually like the places where he catches fly balls too. Like that was left center field. And so you see him in places in the outfield. Like he'll get to the deep corners of like left center field and right center field, and it's like, oh, that's weird. I'm not used to seeing a center fielder get to that spot to park under a fly ball. And he robbed, like that home run that he robbed last night. He basically camped under it. It wasn't like he was running full speed and leaped at the wall. He ran to get over there and kind of slowed up and then jumped up in the air. I mean, he was basically, if the wall hadn't been there, he would have camped under a home run. And so, part of, obviously, like the Twins, even if they do have everyone healthy, and even the Dodgers, who are probably the best team in baseball, there's a certain amount of luck to get through any postseason and the 3-game series that will start the postseason. So there's a certain amount of luck that has to happen. There are no guarantees in baseball. Mm-hmm. But I just don't want to understate how different this team can be with Buxton on the field on a regular basis. And then we haven't even seen them not only performance-wise at the plate, defensively at third base, and actually Adrianza made a nice little play in the field at third base last night.
And so did Sano to scoop that.
With a pick.
That was a nice pick.
But Donaldson does that stuff on a regular basis and also is one of the best hitters in baseball, and we haven't even seen that layer added to this team yet.
The Buxton catch last night was, so again, talking about things that most human beings who play baseball can't do. So he made that catch, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, man, nice catch. Well, actually, at first I thought he dropped it, and then it turned out that it was on the transfer, so that was fine. But to put into context, like the realization of what that play was versus the assumption that Buxton's just going to be there and make that catch, which probably unfairly I did at the time. So after the game, I was writing something for ScoreNorth.com, and I looked, so the field is empty, and I looked at where Buxton made that catch, Phil. And I'm like, am I right about this? Because it was, to what you're saying, so far over in left center field that when you removed people from the field, right? And so you're just like looking around where plays are made. I thought to myself, was he that far? Because like he's nowhere in the vicinity of where you would normally expect his position to be. And the answer, of course, was yes. And so that goes back to what Baldelli talks about, what a lot of people do. He does things that change games that the majority of human beings who play baseball, like unless your name's Mike Trout, the majority of people that play baseball can't do.
Football. All
right, what else? Mike Pineda, which actually, here's something off Mike Pineda as we break a Twins game down like it's football. I think we should just do this like once every 3 days or something. What is your current Twins playoff rotation power rankings after watching Mike Pineda pitch last night?
I was impressed by what Pineda did last night. It's one start. Baseball being baseball, I'm hesitant to throw him in that rotation, but I guess as a reactionary move, I would.
It is a continuation of how well he was pitching last year.
So let's just say, yeah. And the impressive thing was he gave you 6 innings, 2 runs, both in the first, 6 hits, struck out 4 and walked 1. And he essentially was making his first start in 1 year.
Yeah.
I believe his last start as a Twin before last night was September 6th of last year.
It's basically like he had Tommy John or something.
Yes, exactly right.
September 6th.
Oh, okay. So my rotation, my overreaction rotation rankings right now, Maeda gets this, starts game 1, because I do think he's done a fantastic job. I guess I would put Pineda in the rotation as well.
He's your number 2 starter.
Odorizzi, I can't trust right now. He's not even back. I still think they'll give Barrios a start. That makes me nervous. Okay. All right. Here's a hot take idea.
Wow. 2 in the first 15 minutes of the
Let's
show.
talk this out, though, because it might be unnecessarily hot, but I think they'll start Barrios. I personally would not from what I've seen, okay? What if you went Maeda, Pineda, and if he's pitching well enough, but it almost have to be a handcuff, Rich Hill?
Okay.
But I need to see more from Hill again. But let's say you had an outside confidence that by the time the best of 3 series arrives, that Rich Hill could give you a really good start. Back to what he did against the Cardinals.
I wouldn't rule that out, by the way.
Okay. But you definitely would have to handcuff him just in case he can't. Like just in case, or in case he gives you a good start but starts to tire in the 4th.
Which, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what if you went Kenta Maeda in game 1, Michael Pineda in game 2, Rich Hill in game 3, but you would have to have a ready-made handcuff for Rich Hill just in case he started to flounder a little bit and or just flat out tire.
Right. All right. So we're like 2/3 of the way on the same page here. Maeda is my game 1 starter. Pineda is my game 2 starter, and I'm not just basing it off of last night. Although I think you should weigh a lot of it based on last night, just because that guy shook off a year's worth of rust and just jumped in. The first inning was a disaster, and Miguel Sano had a bonehead play at first base.
I was going to say it wasn't all his fault.
Yeah, but he was just like Mike Pineda was. He looks like he's gained about as much weight during quarantine as I have, by the way. So the first inning was like, whoa, what are we watching?
TV adds 10 pounds, Phil.
That's true. That's a good point. And then he wound up settling down. But if you go back now and look at the last 11 starts for him last year, so his ERA was up over 5 for the first part of last season. And then if you take from June 20th, basically, all the way through the end of his year, and then this start, he has a 2.8 earned run average. Mm-hmm. And he had, what did he have last night? 6 strikeouts?
6, yeah. Or no, 4. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. 6 innings.
77 strikeouts in 71 innings. So he is striking out more than a batter per inning.
That's a damn good slider he's got.
He was throwing 94 miles an hour last night.
Yep.
So, and he's experienced. He has pitched in some big games before. So for me, it's Maeda, it's Pineda, and then I would start Barrios in game 3. Not because he deserves it over the other guys necessarily, but I'm sort of actually what I might do is I might start Barrios in game 2 just so he's not facing the pressure of a game 3.
I'm just going to ask you if you wanted to give him the pressure of the elimination game.
And I'd give Pineda the pressure of the elimination game. But for Barrios, I would handcuff someone to him, whether it's probably Randy Dobnak. You handcuff Randy Dobnak to him or something. I need to see more from Rich Hill before I'm ready to put him in a playoff game right now. But we're going to do these rankings at least once a week, so that could change next week.
I agree with you completely on this. I need to see more from Rich Hill and Barrios. I can't decide there. Barrios right now just makes me so nervous because he's so shaky confidence-wise.
So, well, let me elaborate because I agree. Like, he makes me nervous too. I think part of what you have to do in the playoffs and why I would choose Barrios over Dobnak is play the best possible scenario, because you're not going to beat the Yankees if it's Randy Dobnak and his C game, or it's Jose Barrios and his C game. You're not going to beat the Yankees with really either one of those anyways. But if Jose Barrios is on his A game,
Yep.
and Randy Dobnak is on his A game,
Yep.
the Yankees might still score 5 runs off Randy Dobnak's A game because he can't get strikeouts. If Jose Barrios pitches his A game, he'll shut anybody down for 7 innings. So I'm sort of gambling on which of these pitchers, if they bring their A game to the table, is going to give you 6 or 7 innings of shutting down a good lineup.
What if
and
you
Barrios is still on the top of that list.
What if you handcuffed Rich Hill to Barrios and vice versa?
Who would you start?
Rich Hill.
You probably have to give him like an hour to, yeah.
I'd start Rich Hill, and here's why. And I would actually be curious to experiment with this. I think if you started Rich Hill in Game 3, Rich Hill's not going to shrink because of the pressure. He's going to shrink because he's super old.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Barrios is going to shrink because of the pressure.
That's true.
But if he gets handcuffed to Hill, there should be, I should not make this a definitive statement because I don't know if Barrios would feel this way or not, but there should be an ultimate confidence that I'm handcuffed to a veteran pitcher, and therefore, as almost a mind game, despite the fact that there's still immense pressure, there's less pressure than if I just throw you out there to start.
I actually love this idea. So, because you give Rich Hill, like, hey, just take 3 hours to get your body right before the game. You know you're going to pitch.
And be old. Just be old.
Yep.
You're old.
You can
okay.
You can take a nap in the afternoon. It'll be great. You can show up to the ballpark.
Basically,
and you start. And then if he starts, going 3-0, 3-1 to the first 4 or 5 hitters, and now there's 2 runs on the board, and there's runners on first and second, or it's the second inning and that thing, it goes awry for him. Then you say, all right, hey, we gave it a shot. He's dropping F-bombs in front of an empty stadium that are getting picked up on Fox. It's just, all right, we're going to shut this thing down. Now Barrios comes in, and maybe the Twins are down 2-0 or something, but now it's sort of house money for him. Hey, you're cleaning up somebody else's mess, and you're expected to lose now because this pitcher got off to a slow start. Go give us 5 innings and strike out 7 or something. I like that idea. So it would be Maeda, Pineda, Rich Hill.
Yes, with Barrios handcuffed to him very, very closely.
The Dobber, I know people are probably saying, what about Dobnak? He only had the 1 bad outing. He doesn't miss enough bats for me. You're going to face some of these teams you're going to face, like that White Sox lineup or that Yankees lineup, if they get Judge and they get Giancarlo Stanton back, you're not going to smoke and mirrors that lineup in an October game.
I think the Dobnak start that we saw in the ALDS last season in Game 2 is basically him. Like, I don't think that was, oh man, that was just a tough day and he's going to come back in Game 2 of the first round this year and be great. Yeah. I just think that's him, which by the way, there is a place for him. I'm not saying that I put him in the stands and forget about Randy Dobnak, but you got to get creative here. You got to be smart, and you're right. You have to take into account, probably as a big part of the equation, who your opponent is in that round.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yep. So let's make this at least a weekly thing here. Rotation power rankings.
All right. I got another storyline. So my 3 off last night's win by the Twins over the White Sox. Pineda, return to Buxton. But I think the juiciest, most interesting sort of sidebar to this game was who closed.
Yes.
Matt Whistler, who has been an opener in 3 games. And by the way, to his credit, who our friend Jake Depew, rightfully so, I guess, complained about being an opener because his point is, if you had enough starters to start games, Whistler's stuff plays out of the bullpen late in games.
He just throws sliders.
Yeah, I know, but I like his makeup, and I think that in picking him up in the winter, I think the Twins might have, especially in the right cases, found another reclamation sort of garage sale product of a guy who they can work with and turn into a pretty good pitcher. I like his makeup. I like, beyond what he did coming into close last night, I like his stuff, the slider. And with Taylor Rogers struggling, I wonder if you found something here. I'm not trying to say you're full-time closer, okay? So I'm not going to get over my skis by that much. But I wonder if you found something here that definitely plays more than we probably thought it would when they started July 24th.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely just went up there last night and said, I'm going to throw 100 sliders, and some of them are just going to be right over the middle of the plate, and for whatever reason, you guys can't really pick it up. And he got some swings and misses and takes on pitches that were like thigh high, middle of the zone. And so there's something about his delivery or that pitch that guys just don't pick up on. And the most amazing thing about Matt Whistler is that he actually, like, I'd never heard of him until he made an appearance in a Twins uniform. Like, who's this guy? Just another random dude that they've picked up, which they've done a lot of since they took office. So he came into the big leagues in 2015, and before he put on a Twins uniform, he had actually pitched in 129 Major League games. 389 and a third innings of Major League pitching between the Braves, the Reds, the Padres, the Mariners. And he had a 520 earned run average. A 520 earned run average.
A garage sale guy, man.
And he allowed, let's see here, walks and hits per inning, 1.5. Like, he was just putting everybody on base. And so the Twins saw him just sitting on the scrap heap, just a journeyman guy, like literally like the definition of a replaceable guy at the back end of your bullpen that could just be in AAA. And they said, all right, we see something in his pitch repertoire and his makeup and stuff, and we're going to bring him on board. And I don't think they brought him on board thinking he's going to close out a game, a close game in the middle of a pennant race against the White Sox. Like, this was just circumstance, and that the Twins probably have a ton of data that says don't pitch guys back-to-back games. That's why Duffy didn't pitch last night. That's why Rogers didn't pitch last night.
Right.
But they gave this guy a shot, and so far this season, 16 2/3, 21 strikeouts. He's walking too many guys. He's walked 10 guys so far, but and he's only allowed 2 earned runs in 16 2/3. Some of that's luck. If you walk as many guys as he does, you're not going to get away with it long term. But you bring up Taylor Rogers. He had sort of this stoic demeanor that reminds you of Taylor Rogers, where he's just
the old Taylor,
old
Taylor Rogers.
But even like I feel like the current Taylor Rogers, it's less like that he's flustered and more that he just like isn't locating as well and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they both have that sort of stoic, blank stare on their face, as if like they could be pitching in Game 7 or they could be pitching in like the 4th spring training game, and you would never know the difference.
Absolutely.
So that's what I like about Whistler.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think the Twins find these guys, and I think the reality of their situation is that they probably have to be used correctly. So, like, if you start to be like, oh, let's throw him out there, here and there and here, it's going to catch up to him pretty quickly. But this front office and coaching staff seems to have a really good idea about how to take these potential reclamation projects, and if they use them in the right predicaments and situations, have success there. But that relief appearance was huge last night because, 2 nights ago you use what? Your top 5 guys from the bullpen. They all come out and pitched okay. But in Rocco's world, the only guy that he feels comfortable clearly at this point bringing back on back-to-back nights is Romo. So that was a big step. Now, I'd like to see the offense score more than 3 runs. Don't get me wrong. But that being said, that was a pretty there were several areas of encouragement last night, and if Donaldson does come back tonight, and it sounds like there's a chance, at least we can start to see what this team should look like way more when healthy.